At the mesa of a mountain in the land of trickery, we find a forest. Charred trees lay scattered to paint the scene as a thick fog rolls outward and down the cliffsides. A sad state for a forest, and a worse place for a hideout. Because beyond the fog, beyond the trees, beyond the illusions, we see a ruined forest leading to a village in the midst of repairs. As the organization responsible for monitoring magical anomalies and fighting back against the corruption of magic, the clan of Cauldareen is in a desperate state. We see teams of agents returning to base via the teleportation circles on the outskirts of the village. Newly built robotic sentries crawl the treetops of the deceiving forest, monitoring all who approach. And inside a modest home, in the heart of the village, we find our new recruits to the clan of Cauldareen, trying to explain themselves.
Hello, I'm Myri. I play Brutus, the human paladin. I judge you unworthy.
Hello, hello. I am Grim Songbird, and I will be playing Hiccup, the wild magic lizard folk sorcerer with lycanthropy. Is there more of that tea? That was some good tea.
Hi, I'm Ivy. I'm Gamer the Girl, and I play Ruby, the Fire Genasi Arcane Trickster Rogue. Well, this is awkward. I'm gonna get grounded for this one.
Last time on Cauldareen Chronicles, a battle of wits and grit unfolded as Team 10 split up in hell. Terex heads out to confront Sarah alone.
Take my dagger. Drop it if anything goes wrong and I'll know.
And while Terex ventured into the wasteland of fire and smoke, the rest of the team was treated to some tea.
Is it magic tea? Is there magic in the creepy tea?
I have no reason to poison you, my dear. But sometimes you can't take an old woman's word at face value, especially in hell. While facing off against an enraged Sarah, images of Kagor flash before Terex's eyes, and upon uttering the command word, the Bloodhunter's bond forged with her Cerberus. Is it a powerful weapon or a mysterious curse? Only time will tell. As our leader activates the teleportation sigil given to them by our newfound friend Tigo, a bubble of blood encompasses them as she thinks of her destination.
Take me home.
And with a pop, the blood bubble bursts, splashing across the living room. Team 10 finds themselves now standing in Ruby!
Hi, Mom.
With a thought of home, Ruby finds herself in her childhood house. Her mother, pot in hand, shakes her head at the state of things. These are the next defenders of this land? Huh. These are the Cauldareen Chronicles. Let's get into it.
Oh.
So this has just burst, and your mother is standing there, her flames licking back and forth, perhaps in a very clear state of, you don't even have to roll, you understand agitation. As she's sitting there holding a dinner pot that she is starting to bubble in her hands.
Mom,
Blood is in the pot.
Mom, you're gonna overflow. The bubbles are gonna.
Oh. How nice of you to drop in, dear, and bring your friends. And you know what, Brutus, you asked a great question. How much blood is in the pot? Please roll a D20. Just roll a flat D20 and tell me what you get. Yeah, you asked.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I got 17.
She wants to see if extra iron was
Okay.
added into the
Oh
pot.
no.
All right. So with a 17, that's a pretty decent roll. There is some of the blood splatter that is definitely on like the lid, but it is enclosed. And
Okay.
you can
Okay.
see that some of it is more so on her. Like she might have been walking in with her back to this area, and then it like burst in from behind her. So yeah, the food seems to be fine.
Oh, good. Good.
That would have been worse. So, Mom, hi. I wanted to introduce you to the team.
Roll a deception check.
Okay. Against my mother.
Yeah,
That
against your
is-
mom.
That is a natural 20, actually. 11 plus 9.
Dear, there are better ways to do that.
You're right. I decided to take one out of Dad's book and be spontaneous, and this is what I came up with.
Is that little gemstone I hear?
God damn it.
There it is.
And that outwardly is Ruby going, oh, damn it.
And from up above, from your upper landing, you see a human come out who is not dressed and unaware that there might be more guests than just little gemstone. Comes out in the equivalent of boxers and seems to be like he's in the process of disrobing and getting ready for dinner, and you have interrupted that, and he heard that, and so he just comes out, hey, little gem. Well, I didn't know you brought friends.
Yep, I did.
Well, you should have told us. I wouldn't have walked out like this.
I know.
Hiccup shrugs and just goes, I'm used to it. It's okay.
Well, now I've been here, so no need to scurry off. Hello. Welcome.
Please put some clothes on.
Hiccup looks to Brutus and just goes, don't you walk around shirtless? I walk around shirtless.
See?
I do not.
I like your friends already, Gemstone. And your mother looks up. Dear, we have guests. Yep. And he turns around and scurries back into the room. Hastily, you can hear disrobing the remaining bits of his day wear that he had to swap into more comfortable things.
He's just like, oh,
Where do you keep your cleaning supplies? I'll help.
Yep, Mom. We will.
No. What is going to happen is you are going to take this from me. You're going to keep it warm, not burnt. You're going to set the table for your guests, and I am going to get an elixir to fix this up.
Yes, ma'am.
And she hands you over this like hot pot and this thing that for a fire genasi and that fire resistant is sort of akin to just being able to heat these up yourselves is definitely a thing that your mother has taught you and is something that she does when it comes to cooking.
Yes, ma'am. I will do that. And then I'll just take it a little sheepishly, just like, okay, she's upset. I'll just do this one. I'll just do this. And go to the kitchen.
Hiccup looks around to see what he can do to help because he feels kind of bad.
Yeah, and she does indeed go and fetch some clear, sparkling liquid out of a cabinet. And she comes in and she begins to douse the area. And you can see that the blood that is around seems to be sort of sizzling into steam and then kind of dissipating. And she is just taking the time to get the whole room and clear it all.
Hiccup watches and just blatantly goes, man, you can really get away with murder if you had that on a crime scene.
Ruby from the kitchen. I wouldn't tempt her.
Where do you keep your all set that you got your hands with the pot and
Yeah,
so,
sure. Come help me.
yeah. Just like what definitely the Brutus has the energy of someone who can't just like be in someone else's space without like helping.
Yes.
It's just like, oh geez, like no, I gotta do something. So Brutus will set the table, but very badly because she doesn't remember which side forks and stuff are supposed to go on.
Hiccup doesn't know anything about silverware. He wouldn't know.
She like second guesses herself like 10 times. She's like,
and they just, you set the table and Ruby keeps that pot warm.
Yeah.
And your
Kinda
mother
looking
finishes
over.
up.
I'll kind of look over at Bruce occasionally and be like, "Oh, that one goes there." Yeah.
Okay.
You did a good job.
Thanks.
And your mother finishes cleaning up the blood and then caps that elixir and places it back in a shelf and turns back towards the dining room and comes out in. At this point, your father also starts making his way down the stairs, and he's coming down, but he still has his battle axe with him, and he's in the equivalent of just loungewear. He has his brown pants and a nice just flowing shirt. But he walks downstairs and he sets the battle axe down against the wall behind him and then takes a seat. Roll a insight check, Ruby.
All right, insight. That is a 14.
Yeah. Your dad never brings the axe to dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely get a vibe that this is like your dad showing off.
A little, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a
Like,
little bit.
I'm gonna just kind of like as my mother comes back in the room and seeing him with his axe, I'm like, "Mom, you let him keep Jude. You didn't take it back."
We will discuss that at a later time.
Oh,
Okay.
what a good axe is it? Did you like iron or did you go for steel, a little more contemporary sort of?
Oh, well, an eye for weapons. I see that monster on your hip there. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, she
so
served me well. Yeah.
this here is iron. And he reaches over and he grabs it, and immediately, and your mother hand very gently on the table, and a bit of a burning sound, a sizzle as her hand is heating up the wood table. Here, no axes at the dinner table, please. Yeah, of course. This is an after dinner conversation. Of course.
Right. It's a good axe.
Thank you. I'll show it to you later.
This is my favorite episode so far. Just
This is pretty great, not gonna lie.
I love it.
But Brutus will follow suit and also like put her weapon somewhere else because again, don't know the rules of someone else's house. Like,
And as you all sit down, Ruby's mother, having cleaned up all the blood and made you sit down and join them for dinner, she begins serving. And Ruby's father sits down on the end of the table while her mother is dishing out the food, and she's explaining to you, I hope you all like stew. I suppose I should have asked that, but it's a pretty good stew, so if you don't like stew, you might like stew after this.
Oh, I like anything stew.
Wonderful.
My mom's a pretty good cook, I will say.
Oh,
Stew's great.
awesome.
Stew's great.
can't go wrong with stew. So
And as they ladle it out, you see that Ruby's father looks over and says, "You know, you're a blood hunter, aren't you?"
Me?
Yeah, you look like I see the signs. You're a blood hunter, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Banzalore. Yeah,
he's
good.
something. He's
Yo,
something else.
Yeah, he's a bit of an odd fellow,
Yeah,
but you
you
can
have
spot
a-
him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You ever get into blood hunting? You ever pick up a thing or two there?
Oh no. I mean, I go hunting for blood, but not.
Yeah, I can tell. I can
Yeah.
tell. Yeah.
And like he kind of like sort of tries to flex a little bit, a little
Mhm.
bit, just kind of showing off those muscles.
Yeah, I give him a little like, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, not quite in his prime per se anymore, but you
Sure.
can tell a barbarian when you see one.
Yeah.
So, what brings you here? We're so happy to have Little Gemstone's friends over. What? Wow, it's how long has it been?
Since I was over?
Well, since you had friends over. They're the important ones today.
Parent energy.
Ruby falters. She's like, a while. Really long while.
Well, what have you been up to?
Oh.
Oh God.
I just adopted a dog. This is Sarah.
He's
Roll an insight check from I guess everyone, but specifically I want one from Terex.
18.
14 again.
Garbage. 6.
And Hiccup.
That would be a 9. I think he's too busy being enamored with the smell of the stew.
Yeah, it's pretty good stew. Well, the only
Yeah.
one who actually did notice then is Terex. And you see his demeanor for just a moment shift. Because you say, I adopted a dog, and you motion to it, and he leans over to look. And when he sees Sarah, there is just a moment of pause. And almost like the tip of his smile starts to lower. And then, oh, well, dogs are great.
Yeah. No, it's good to have company.
Yeah. And there is definitely a moment of, ow. And roll a perception check.
Perception is 16.
Okay, yeah. You notice him say ow as he pulls his hand up from under the table. And there's a little bit of like singe on the tips of his fingers, like his hair has just been burnt off. And you can see across the table, at the other end of the table, Ruby's mother pull her other hand out from under the table.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a busy few days. It's been a busy week or so.
Very, very busy.
Very busy.
Lots of paperwork.
I'm sure you guys have been keeping busy here. Does Ruby have siblings? I probably would know, but I don't remember.
Ruby is an only child.
Ruby's an only child.
Okay. I'm sure you guys have been finding a way to keep busy here.
Oh well, with all that commotion, we've been quite busy. Yeah, I've even gotten to break out the old axe a little bit. Go on patrols again.
Yeah, oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Dad's been retired for a while now, so I'm
That's
sure
just
he's more than happy.
that's nice to get back into the game.
Yeah, it's like I never left.
Yeah.
And you see him start, slurping down some of his soup and some of his stew. And at this moment, Ruby, a moment just flashes in front of you. You guys have been on a hell of a journey the last couple of weeks. And a memory as you're sitting in your childhood home. You remember a scene sort of like this before. Perhaps a time that you brought friends home, like when you were younger. And that scene runs through your head for a brief moment. And what do you see?
I think Ruby sees a time when she was much younger than this, having just run in from playing with a group of children that was also running around, just enjoying the nightlife, and all of them come trampling into the room, and their mother scolding her just a little bit, and remembering specifically that carefreeness when she was younger, and I realized that's very different from what she's experiencing now.
And that laissez-faire, that coming in and just being a kid, not a leader of Cauldareen, not a leader of a team, not someone who's watched people die. And this moment, though, this is a memory of that. Just sitting around a table, having stew with your friends and your family. And your mother now speaks and says, so, I have heard you've all been on quite an adventure. I deal a lot with research, so I keep up to date on all the latest things. And those tattoos I've heard about, they're definitely sending our department into overtime.
Have you learned anything more about them?
Well, we've been able to retrieve a bit of information from going back to the previous location that your team actually dealt with. And some of the other locations, once we got our hands on some of the vials, it's very volatile stuff from what I saw. And it was very fascinating, the amount of magic imbued into them. It was... I feel like the people who were having them weren't quite told exactly what they truly were. There's definitely much more to it than what they appear to be. It's almost like an incomplete formula. And no wonder there's such a problem with anyone who uses them.
So, Mom, have you found any other side effects?
Oh, besides the fact that most of the people who end up using them are dead? No, not really.
Yes,
dear.
Mom. Besides the fact that the rest of them are dead. I mean, outside of that, like, people are still living with them or anything like that.
I think the smaller ones seem to hold the least amount of backfire, but any of the ones that were... For instance, we got one that was supposed to be quite a heavy flame spell. But I will tell you, that one needs to be kept very deep underground, dear, because what you would think it is versus how powerful that energy actually is are astronomically different.
I understand, Mom. When have I ever told anybody else anything?
So, like they would try to, cast flame on someone and then it would like burn them up or something, or it would rain hellfire or something.
Well, it would be like, and she clicks her fingers and a little bit of flame just kind of starts at the tip of her hand. It'd be like if I meant to do this, but I blew up the whole room.
Right.
So, yeah, I've definitely seen a bit of that in regards to it, but luckily it's not really something we have to worry about too much.
No, not at all.
Do you think it's something that could be repurposed for Cauldareen's use? Potentially.
A girl after my own heart. Everything can be repurposed, my dear, and that is what research all about.
Brutus is delighted. She doesn't know yet that she would be really bad at that.
Brutus, in this moment, you're having this chat, and they're talking and going over just their day at work and the stuff that they do. And you too have a memory of sitting around a table, be it with your family, be it with friends at the academy. Where would you, after such a tremendous journey, having finally been able to sit down, where would you remember being?
Yeah, I think she'd remember like being in the barracks, like sort of post training, before the whole the Decius incident. So with him still there and like all her friends there, like sharing drinks and swapping stories, that sort of thing. Coming back after a mission. Yeah, I think that would be where she'd go to.
Yeah, and just this scene flashes as you imagine sitting down and you're talking about someone, and someone's praising you, a commanding officer praising you are great out there, and your friends around you like, oh yeah, but you see what you just knocked the guy? Oh man. And that moment of just and that feeling you haven't felt in a long time just kind of runs through. And
Value.
in that moment, Eric's, you see that moment where the guy says in your memory, you remember when she clocked that guy? And it just kind of runs through for just a moment, and you feel at home in the barracks. And that's just the sentence that goes through you. If someone asks you to describe the feeling, you're like, I feel at ease, at home in the barracks. I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah. I've kind of, as I feel that, sort of just like look over to Brutus and see what like she's kind of looking like right now.
She's just like, yeah, hand on head on the hand, like just sort of relaxing into, I'm pretty sure nobody's trying to poison us or kill us in this precise moment. You don't even know about the whole poison tea thing yet. We haven't had a chance to tell you.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about
You
poison
were there.
tea. I am just going on an emotional journey. I'm exhausted too. I just like, wow, I've had the worst time. Everyone else is fine. You guys were hanging out with a lady, not at a table. She had snacks probably. Yeah, but I'm just probably kind of looking, I just kind of like smile a little bit, sort of feeling you're feeling okay, and I kind of relax a little bit too.
And Ruby's father leans over and says, "Got an appetite. I've met some lizard folk before, and you know how to eat, don't you?"
Yeah. I've been taught how to eat well.
Well, don't worry. We've got plenty more where that came from. Eat up anything you want. You're part of the group. You're part of the you're part of the flame.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
Ruby is choked on her stew.
Does that extend to me and Brutus?
Oh yeah, you're all. It's like a wildfire in here.
I like smile and I like look at Ruby and smile really big.
Ruby is like choking. She's like, right.
And Hiccup, you are being told that you're part of the group, and you have this memory of being a part of something. Where is it? What is it?
His earliest memory that came to him was when he was a small lizard boy with the pack of wolves, awakened wolves who raised him before he even knew what magic was, when things were far simpler in existing. And it's just that natural state of knowing that you are in this pack. This is your group. You're all coexisting and living happily together. And even how he would just sometimes play with the wolf cubs when he was small, or figure out how to climb a tree, and use it a lot when his cub siblings would chase him up the tree whenever they would have banters or whatever. Just that simple bliss of what it feels like to be genuinely a part of something without feeling self-conscious about who he is or what he is capable of doing, or even not even knowing what he's capable of doing.
And as you sit there and think about that, you hear you're part of the flame, it's like a wildfire in here. You think back on growing up, and as you turn, you see out through one of the windows, there is a tree outside, and that thought, as you imagine yourself running up it and listening to the wolves yell, "That's not fair." And you too are thinking of a simpler time. And Ruby's mother begins collecting up some of the dishes as the main course has been eaten. Now, well, I suppose there are friends, and the husband starts going, do it, do it, do it. You guys are gonna love this. Do it, do it. And she says, I was going to do it either way. So this is not your doing. But it's encouraging, encouraging, encouraging. And she walks out of the room. And after a little bit, you hear her clanking some things away, like she's grabbing something. And he says, oh, dessert. My favorite meal of the day. Eat it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack,
If
midnight
Mom would
snack.
let you. If Mom would let you.
Or doesn't catch me. And he
Okay.
nudges towards Brutus.
She is fully on board. She is like so fascinated by like what is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like
I'm like a stealthy fox.
I bet.
Be in the back.
Zero doubt. Zero. She's like, yeah, I bet you are.
Terex is just enjoying this thoroughly.
This is so wholesome.
And out walks Ruby's mother a few moments later with a beautiful looking custard. And this is a familiarity to Ruby that her mother has almost a bit of a party trick in regards to this, but only to people who are not from their family, as it is something that other people find exciting. As she walks out with this beautiful looking custard and sets it down and places her hands together over it. And as she opens it up, a thin sheet of flame comes between her hands, and she slowly lowers, beginning to flambe this. And as that crisp topping of sugar solidifies and caramelizes along the top of this custard, anyone? And the
that-
smell is just emanating that you can't help but almost be lifted out of your chair by it.
And that was when Hiccup desperately wants to learn how to properly cook so he can do shit like that.
Bruce is like, I don't know why you'd light it on fire, but like she doesn't saying this. It's just like it's all across her face. It's just like
I think.
Yep.
I think
Hiccup
Ruby's-
immediately shoots his hand up, clearly wanting some.
I think Ruby, this is something she's familiar with, but she's kind of looking around the room at different friends. They're seated there and just enjoying the expressions on their faces, just enjoying that they're having a nice time. Like, to her, this is normal, but to see the excitement and joy from all of her party members, she's got a little smile on her face as she's just watching them enjoy it.
And she begins doling out the pieces, and in a moment of perhaps losing herself to this moment as well, as many of you have, she's dishing it out and saying, everyone always gets a kick out of that. And your father says, it's, but the taste, wait till you get the taste. The last time we had this was at the captain's ball where everyone was gathered. I tell you what, your cousin could put away some. It's.
Yeah.
I think
He liked his. He liked
really
his
did.
custard. Yeah.
He did.
And in that moment, you remember a meal with Kagor at home before you left. Describe it.
Yeah, it was probably like not even like a huge like family gathering or anything. Kind of a relatively tight-knit culture. So probably like once a week, it was like a big dinner with extended family. and Terex is pretty shy and not super like outgoing, and they're like cousins, but they don't have like any like immediate siblings or anything. And so probably was just kind of sitting on the end of like the adults table, like where you've just kind of made it but not really talking to anyone. And then not Corso, god damn you, Corso. God damn you.
One of your other cousins, Corso. Yeah.
The cousin Corso is sitting. He's sitting down, being an asshole.
Canon now.
Is it Corso Nebula? Is that?
Yeah, that sounds about the right.
Yeah,
person.
okay.
Kagor probably came up next to her and stole food off of her plate, and just to annoy her and say and like kind of make fun of her, like mess with her hair or something, and she'd get mad at him because she had a pretty easy temper and it was easy to like get her riled up. But then they would just kind of end up talking, and she was kind of secretly happy that someone was talking to her, because otherwise people would ask her about like her studies or school or what was going on, and she hated that.
Yeah. And there is Kagor stealing a bit of food from your plate, specifically your dessert, as he's stolen a bit. And the chat, this nice, just calm conversation, could be about anything. Just the fact it was a conversation, again, of a simpler time. And everyone roll a Constitution saving throw.
See what have your parents done?
Also, just a reminder, everyone, +4.
Thank you.
This isn't against being charmed, is it?
Nope.
Not against being put to sleep?
Nope.
That's a 15.
My total is 23.
6 and 16 for Brutus.
Okay. And for Ruby?
14. Sorry, I moved my mic.
Wait, no, sorry, 18 for Brutus. It's +6 for me in total, not a +4.
Terex first, having already suffered 2 levels of exhaustion. That moment of just relaxing, being in a warm environment, being in just a home and not a battlefield or training or whatever the last couple of weeks have been, it hits you. And you are exhausted. And with that, you take a 3rd level of exhaustion as it starts to set in, of just how rough everything has been. And Ruby, you're at home, and it's almost turning you back into a little kid of just like, oh, my parents and oh, my friends, and for a moment it's not the leader of Team 10, it's you and your friends. You don't have obligations for a second. You are tired, and you experience that first level of exhaustion setting in. And Brutus and Hiccup, you don't feel it. You're still, whatever it is still pushing you. You've yet to feel a crash yet. But roll a perception check, both of you.
Hang on, I don't think I have a modifier.
Damn it. I rolled a 9. I think he's enjoying the dessert.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Oh no.
a 2.
Oh no.
Yeah. So you
Related
are
to
caught
sugar.
up. Yeah, you guys are caught up in conversation. You're caught up in the meal. You don't necessarily notice, but you're caught up in the fact that this isn't a war zone, and you don't necessarily notice that your teammates, at the very least, are starting to dip, and it's like that moment in a party where some folks are like, oh, this is my time to tap out, and you guys are still going strong. But your mother says, here,
it wouldn't be any trouble at all for you and your friends to rest up here. As she notices a very familiar look of her daughter looking
she's
tired.
like slumped back in her chair, like hands on her stomach, just like, oh, kind of will square herself. If you all are fine with staying the night here,
we have plenty of accommodations, and it would be a very, very long walk back to your dorms.
It's
like
destroyed anyway.
2 blocks. It's like 2 blocks to where. And let me clarify this. This is a bit now that we get to unveil, which would have happened in the week of fixing things up. Is one half of the building was destroyed, which is the part in which your side was. A giant crashed into it. But the other half of the building, where several other teams resided, and some did not make it, there were other rooms. And so to use the best of everything, they vacated some of those, and they have placed you in one on the left side of the building. And so you do have a new place. It is not as unique as your last. It is bare bones. It is missing the identifiable chalk that makes everything yours. It is just
it's like a barracks.
It's a barracks now. And you actually sleep just below Team 7.
I knew. I was just about to ask.
They are the floor above you.
Okay. In the week that was leading up to these moments, do we get a guesstimate of how many teams? Because we are Team 10. There was more above us.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a guesstimate how many maybe didn't make it?
There are a total of 18 teams that you recall.
Okay.
And in your, specifically as Ruby, there are now 12.
Okay.
And the teams are of the younger generations always. If you're not a kill squad or a captain of your own, you would be in one of your original teams, just like your group is. And so 6 of them did not make it out of the entire ordeal.
Okay.
When Ruby's mom offers Terex out of just general, the way, like her upbringing, it's just like, are you sure we really don't want to impose anything?
Terex,
it's fine.
Terex,
No, not at all.
I'm asking you to stay.
And Ruby's mother comes over and places her hands on you, and you feel a warm feeling start to seep through your muscles as she says, no, not at all. And you can't tell if she did that on purpose or if you're just that tired, but it was like someone just stepping over and just, no, not at all. And suddenly you're in a sauna and everything is just relaxed.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could. This sort of
Do it for me.
help. Yeah, took it out of me. Yeah. Is it alright if I'm excused now? If I could just.
I'll lead you right. I'll lead you right to our guest room. Not at all, dear.
Eric's kind of gets up and motions with Sarah. Like now that they're like standing up, like immediately just all of the it's like when you're like too drunk and then like you stand up and you like realize, oh, I'm worse than I thought I was. Having like eaten and taken a breath and stopped moving, like standing up was just like, oh god. And follows.
And she looks over to Sarah and says, Malos, and with a twist of her hand, creates a little orb of flame and throws it, and Sarah catches it.
Yeah.
And chews it up. And Sarah walks by her side for just a moment, and she bends down and she pats her on the head and says another word in Undercommon, which you understand she spoke Undercommon, but she says, "It's good to see you." Roll an insight check. And you are at disadvantage because you are 3rd level of exhaustion.
I am. Well, joke's on you. The second roll was better. Insight, that's a 15.
So it crosses your mind, even in this very sleepy stupor of, I didn't know that was a command for Sarah. And it just kind of, just for a brief moment, kind of in your mind, you saw her give Sarah a command and some sort of familiarity. And then, well, come along, right this way. And she escorts you to a room that they have set up. And you can see a couple more beds in here for guests. So you anticipate your teammates may be joining you, but you are easily able to get settled in.
Yeah, and I will say, because I specified that since Kagor has died, Terex hasn't been sleeping. They've just been like doing the 4-hour trance.
Yeah.
Because usually they like to like just sleep in whenever. And so this is probably the first time since then with like Sarah on the bed, like cuddling, that Terex is just straight out just gone to sleep and is just looking forward to not waking up on time. Whenever that time may be.
Yeah. And Terex drifts off to sleep fairly easily.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of you at the table. So we can get you all settled in and get that handled. You know, if you wanna check out the axe or you know,
yes.
we could do that in the morning. We could do that in the morning.
Oh, right.
Right.
You have time, Dad. They're
good
not gonna
idea.
leave. They're not gonna leave first thing or anything.
It's just you never bring people by anymore.
I know. I'm sorry.
You're off being too cool and the leader of a team, and
I don't know if cool is the right word, but
Actually, I know you are cool. Don't deny it.
but it doesn't sound cool when your old dad says you're cool.
no, you're pretty
But
cool.
you're wise, though.
I like you. Well, I will be here in the morning. Hopefully, you all are here in the morning, and we can have breakfast and
Axe talk. Yeah.
yeah, I'll show you the collection.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Oh, we should probably send a message. Yeah, I'll just motion to Ruby real quick and just like,
yeah.
yeah,
I'll get it.
we should probably let Oops know we're back.
I'll send it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll chat with you in the morning. I've got evening patrol, and by that, Ruby knows that is 100% code for he's just going to walk up and down the street here. He's not on actual patrol right now. That would be out like on the forest line. He just doesn't sleep at night much, so he walks up and down your own street with his axe and just like chats with whoever's on night shift.
Distracts them.
Is there, silly question, is there like a couch or a big comfy chair in the house that has a view of that tree?
Yeah. There's a nice little great room that has a window, nice big window that looks out.
Okay. Hiccup is going to meander over to the big comfy seating and politely asks, is it okay if I sleep here?
Are you asking Ruby or are you asking?
I'm asking the parental figures of this of this
You've not asked
household.
his name yet. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did not mention. My apologies.
You're okay.
You can call me Vega, dear. And yes, that would be quite fine. I do get up a bit early for work, and I hope that won't disturb you.
Oh, that's fine. And he does a stretch and shifts into his full wolf form. Not the hybrid, the actual wolf form. And he and he
Oh.
curls up onto the sofa and just plops down with a little, and just kind of looks out the window and just kind of like drifts off and is just gonna sleep like that.
And you hear, with your wolf ears, as you lay down, muttered somewhere in the vicinity, "Cool." And then you also are able to drift off, and Ruby would know where, Terex has been placed up. I mean, it's the guest room, and Ruby, your own bedroom is here as well. So however you would like to handle yourself and Brutus.
Brutus, do you want me to show you the guest room, or if you
Please,
would be,
yeah.
would you be more comfortable in my room, like alone, and I can sleep in the guest room?
Oh no, it's fine. I can sleep anywhere, or will frequently sleep
Okay.
nowhere.
I just want to make sure you're comfortable. Like trying to I'm not gonna mention anything. Okay. all
Bruce is like, no, we should probably we should rest. Got
Yeah.
pretty bitten up by, the hellhound.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna
And-
turn to my parents. Good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. We will be here in the morning. I don't plan on going anywhere quite yet.
Well, we'll see you then. I'm doing a lot of work at home, as the building was sort of squished.
Did you get a giant step on it too?
Oh, okay. Well, and your father starts laughing. She doesn't know how to aim a dead body. I handled the giant problem. I perhaps did not handle the falling giant problem as well.
Those are two very different problems. You're right.
They're
You're right.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to pat Hiccup on the head, like a little, gentle pat before I.
There's a little smile that curls onto the corner of his lip from receiving head pats.
And seeing Hiccup choose to sleep there, just so canonically, Tear ends up on the couch and sleeps out there closest to Hiccup.
Night, Hiccup. Night, Tear. I'll kind of gesture to Brutus. Guest room's this way. I'm sure Terex is already asleep.
Yup.
Out, and
Like not even under the covers, just
She-
like on top of the bed. Did have the decency to take off her shoes. She's not a mad woman, but like just laying on the bed and just like cuddling, and then like Sarah is laying on the bed next to her.
I think when Ruby walks in, she'll gesture to one of the other free spaces, whichever bed you want, and then we'll go and get an extra blanket and throw it over Terex. All right, there's that taken care of. Do you need anything? Can I get you anything else?
No, I'm good. Please go to sleep. You look very, very tired.
I am very tired. As she plops down on the bed and sits there for a second, and just that wave of just absolute exhaustion. She's like,
You could also just you could just it's right there. You're already on a bed.
You're right. She'll just plop over and then pull the blanket around herself, even though she really doesn't need it.
It's a comfort. Listen, the monsters
comfort
will
thing.
eat your feet if you don't have
You're
a
right. The
blanket on.
monsters
Yeah.
will eat our feet. Good night, Brutus.
Good night.
And with that, I think Ruby will drift off.
and
Bruce
That
goes
leaves Brutus.
eventually. Yeah. So
laying
like
awake
lies
for a
down,
while.
checks in with Oliver, just like, you all right? Sort of yelled at a devil today, put us in danger a whole bunch, so sorry about that. Whatever she was. Devil. Demon.
Yeah, that was. What are you exactly? Because
Me?
this is not the This is not what I've envisioned as the typical life of a human.
I mean, I don't know how to answer that. I'm just a person.
A person with a fae inside of their head, bits of imaging coming in from another. I see that too. And,
Yeah.
yelling at devils and we went to hell. That was
Yeah,
today.
You might have actually picked a terrible person's head to live in.
Well,
Probably should have picked a farmer or something. Would have been a little safer.
Oh.
where would the fun in that be?
Fair enough. Don't get sleepy now. I'm out.
And Team 10 drifts off, getting a full night's rest. And as they rest, they dream various things throughout the night. Maybe those memories they had or those moments that they cherished. They dream of a simpler time. And then, at some point, they dream of each other. Of their group. They dream of being in the capital of trickery, Eleanor, when they were making their way towards the base to infiltrate it. And they remember making their way towards it. And as each one of you is heading in that direction with your team, as you're all having, in your own right, this dream, everyone's face is obscured. You can't see. You're just heading somewhere. But then there's one person who it took you a moment to recognize that you can even see them. As a young boy walks past you, and you can see his face. His shaggy brown hair and freckles. And as he looks you in the eyes, as he passes you, his irises flash gold. And walks right by you. As you all wake up the next morning, having experienced a long rest, Team 10 finds themselves waking up as guests inside Ruby's childhood home. Your parents whip up fantastic breakfast, as cooking again is your mother's thing. And with a little bit of flair, as the fresh cuts of pork are sizzled just across the pan with a nice burst of flame. And oh, what a breakfast it is! And Ruby's father does get that time to show off Jude, the axe, and shows it off a little bit.
Wait, what was its name?
Ruby, correct me if I'm wrong. It's Jude.
Correct.
Yeah, Jude, and lets you check out Jude and shows you. And there's some heft to this.
Ooh.
And you're a strong person, but you can. It's much like with spicy food. You can eat it, but you also know when most people probably would call it quits. And they have definitely handed you a battle axe that you're like,
And
most people wouldn't pick it up.
Still 5'2", or not? Yeah, I do. Like...
And so you could swing it, but you know, like, oh, yeah, this is not something that anyone could just grab.
Oh.
And you think back to him tossing it back and forth with ease and pointing at you with it and talking. And
Oh, that's
he
good.
sets it down and takes a look at your claymore and you know, loves swordplay, and to see it in action. I'm more of an axe guy myself. It's very easy to swing, not much for the dancing of the footwork like old Akita.
Oh, this one is so. I have it so the balance isn't actually perfect, so that way the momentum. So you might actually have an easier time with this one.
Oh, can I?
Oh yeah.
And he looks up over your shoulder for a second and then back down. And as you glance over your shoulder, you can see Ruby's mother, Vega, standing at a distance and seeming to just shrug her shoulders as he picks up your claymore and gives it a swing and rolls a natural 20 as he takes part of a
Nice.
tree. You watch him take your weapon and just hack part of the front yard tree clean off.
Brutus
Oh.
gives a quick look over at Ruby's mom, like, oh, she probably didn't mean that it was okay to do that.
And you see her, and he goes, now that's a sword.
It is.
And he hands it back to you and makes eye contact again and goes, and that's a problem that I will remedy.
I think Ruby will lean over to her mom and be like, at least he's not raging this time.
There's blood
I
pressure
think he
falling.
just adopted Brutus.
I'm gonna go get us a new tree.
And he heads off. And heads off towards the outline of the forest.
I'm just gonna go find a druid and be like, can you craft this for me?
Can you
My
say
wife
again?
is really upset.
No, see, Ruby, you would know your father is going to go pluck one by his bare hands.
I know what he's going to do.
That's
Love this for
impressive.
him.
Yeah.
Hiccup has not changed his form this morning. He was still
Stayed
in
in
his
wolf
wolf
form.
form. Yeah. He hasn't really had much of a chance to explore his different forms very much, because ever since the invasion at Cauldareen, he's been focusing on putting things back together like everybody else.
Yeah.
Not really used his downtime to just really sit with it, being like, yes, this is what it is like to have 4 legs. Just,
This feels good.
yeah. So he's still in his wolf form, so he's probably been eating breakfast off the floor. Actually, no, he would have sat in the chair, still in the wolf form, just
His
sat
paws.
at the table with his paws on the table.
And what is Terex doing this morning?
Derek's is sleeping until someone wakes him up.
Okay.
Sleeping in
Valid.
just like the good old days.
Ruby has elected that she will wake Terex up when she feels the time is right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we let you sleep. You've earned it.
I'll do that.
Yeah, she
And
needs
well
to-
after breakfast, well after the display of the tree, it's getting on towards noonish, and you see your father hauling on his shoulders what is clearly a tree. It's a smaller one, perhaps part of the regrowth efforts after the attack. He has just hauled it out of the ground and is dragging it. And there's just a solid line of it being drug just awkwardly and slowly back toward, like if you were following the trail, it goes from where it is and it goes right to your house.
Can I just? Ruby has the best fucking dad.
And he does in fact begin to start replanting this near the area, and your mother just rolls her eyes, and as this is indeed a common occurrence, I fixed it.
You did great, Dad.
Sweet, right? It's better than flowers. That's gotta be better.
This
than
one's actually a lot
flowers.
nicer than the last one you brought. This one's not covered in bugs or anything like that. This one's nice.
It's new. Yeah, they brought it up to the mountains, so got the old pluck it special. It's where you pluck the thing.
Yeah,
and you-
I get it, Dad. You get
Right.
it. I'm gonna go wake up Terex.
okay. Yeah. And yeah, Ruby's able to go wake on up and get Terex.
Terek's sleeping at the moment.
Just like I imagine just sort of sprawled over this bed and Sarah like sprawled on top kind of at a weird angle. Like Terex, when they, it's funny because elves literally do not need to sleep, but she actively chooses to, and just it's like
So
starfish, like head like hanging off. Sarah is like over her back, just kind of with her head resting on Terex's back, just out.
Okay. We're just gonna kind of like poke her head in. Terex. Go walk over. Terex. Get like really close to like your face, and then boop your nose and yell, Terex!
Yeah, what the?
I mean, like, morning.
And Sarah, having seen you the whole time, was just sitting there, eyes open. As soon as you like turn the doorknob, Sarah's eyes were just open. And Sarah, knowing you're not a threat, just sat there. But yes, with Sarah stacked on top of you, but there is still a dog across your midsection.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Morning. Is there food?
Got, like a little smug smile, like good morning. How you feeling?
Better than yesterday. I guess. How is? And Terex is kind of like getting up, kind of making themselves I was gonna say making themselves human, making themselves elf, I guess.
Yeah.
For being asleep. And they say, yeah, better than yesterday. How was yesterday for you? I guess we never really talked about that. They're like putting on shoes and kind of.
Be a little more specific. Which part of yesterday was it? The hell, the tea, the bubble of blood,
Tea.
the embarrassment from parents, or just like in general?
Okay. The beginning of I know the hell part.
Okay.
I know the blood and the parents.
Yeah, you kind of witness those.
So what's the tea? Terex is like walking out, and I guess is like, oh, Sarah, do you want to come hang?
The tea was bad. The tea was not.
Oh, that's sad.
And Sarah is immediately up and at your heels, walking along.
As in, the tea was magical tea.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably best that you were outside with Sarah when that was happening, actually.
Yeah, wow.
It got a little heated.
It also got heated with Sarah.
That worked out, right?
Someone's a drama queen, and I like screech her.
It's you, right?
And there's
yeah.
a little bit of a from Sarah as you see little tufts of flame sort of kind of lick the bits of her lips.
Yeah. Never in my life have I ever been dramatic, and I walk over to the food.
Look from the eye and try saying that as Ruby's following. Also, my dad brought a tree from the woods because he broke the other tree, so
How
that's
do
been
you
a
break
whole.
a tree?
He hit it with Brutus's sword.
Yeah, that'll. Yeah. Okay.
He's a strong guy.
Yeah, it looks it.
Barbarian.
Yeah. I figured with the
And this and the axe and the
everything about him.
everything
Yeah.
about him. Yeah.
Your parents are very cute, Ruby.
They're very cute, but yeah. I shall kind of smile like a little bit, like proud of this fact of my dad's the reason I wanted to be a leader. So I mean, I guess he did a good job.
Yeah. He did.
Don't tell him that.
No, just.
I'm gonna walk back outside and let Terex enjoy what.
And as you walk outside, you immediately walk to Gemstone. Look at this! And your dad has taken part of the tree that he snapped out and cut down with Brutus's sword, and is now swinging it around. It moves like the axe. It's almost like perfect club. And he's just swinging this, what is essentially a giant branch of the tree around that seems to be a normal person would not be able to pick that up.
Also, like, inspired by this, Brutus has gone over to Hiccup, who I assume is still in wolf form. He's like, okay, here's my thought. Here's my thought. So you're in wolf form, right? So you're smaller than you normally are. So I throw you like a javelin, and you turn into your hybrid form partway as I throw you, and then you land on them in the hybrid form. That's my pitch. That's my offering. Yeah.
He gives a slow blink and then just tilts his head to the side in
I thought you might like
contemplation.
it. Yeah.
And then his tail starts to wag as he straightens back up and does the little excited tippy taps with his front paws.
Ruby catching just a little bit of that conversation while her dad's just like, wait, you're gonna what?
Hiccup immediately just does the little just kind of does a little scurry back and forth.
We're just thinking tactics.
As this time passes, you guys are having this moment, but you know eventually the world's got to catch back up, and you know that work is going to be there. And at some point, a archer arrives at the door and flags you down and says, letter for Team 10 from Commander Oops.
Here. No, take it.
And
Thank
hands
you.
you off a letter and nods to you and heads off, as your message did get to Oops that you were here and you were safe. And the following day, you have received a letter.
While everybody's enjoying the thing, I think Ruby will just quickly open it, scan over the contents of it.
And Oops is one of few words, and it simply states, office, whenever.
Perfect.
That's it. That is it.
From the desk of.
That clearly looks like it was written by someone else.
The
part that says from Commander Oops looks like it was written by someone else.
I'm pretty sure this is Mac's handwriting. Okay, all right. I'll fold it up, put it in my pocket. Look around at everybody enjoying the time there. She'll smile. All right, Team 10. About an hour, and then we need to go see Oops.
Right.
We got an hour.
And they spend that hour getting to
Say, like, Hiccup just gives a slow blink as if he does not know what an hour is.
Hiccup will tell you when.
And he just kind of gives like a bob of a nod before like trotting around and just starts rolling around in the grass.
And as your hour passes, you get to have this pleasant moment as all of this memories of a simpler time, a nice dinner, and a solid night's rest. But work calls, and Team 10 has a job to do. So, office.
Whenever. I think when the hour comes up, like on the dot, Ruby's like, all right, it's been an hour. Come on. You guys can come visit my parents some other time. I'm sure they'd love to have you all back.
I don't know if that custard.
I'm
I'll
sure.
be back for the custard.
I'll look to my mom. Mom, next time we come back, more custard.
And she says, well, I suppose I'd have to go get more eggs, and I suppose I'd have to...
What
and
if
she
I
smiles at you.
bring some for you?
Oh, now there's an idea. And
Hiccup
she
shifts
smiles.
back into his regular form and asks, would you teach me how to make it?
Well, someone magically inclined as yourself, I bet you've got the touch.
I can try.
Oh,
think
you'll
I'd
do
like to
more than
try.
try. Research is about getting it right. Trial and error, but eventually we get it right.
Yeah, sounds good.
That was Mom's life motto for me growing up too.
What's a motto?
Like a saying.
What's the motto with you?
There it is.
I was gonna ignore it.
There it is.
It's like a saying, like something you say often enough.
And this conversation as you head your way towards office
quickly hug
And-
mom, dad, and then I make a promise I'll bring friends by more often. To the office.
Right.
Uh,
Things to do.
Things to do.
And on your way, you find yourselves passing through Cauldareen, and it's been a bit. You recognize that perhaps being in hell, things are a little shifted. Things take a little longer there than they are here. There's a little bit more reconstruction that's been done. And everyone roll an insight check. No, this would be an intelligence check.
Oh.
Straight
Just
intelligence.
Straight
Yep.
intelligence. Great.
Synthetic 20.
18. I finally beat out of 14.
So, okay, I rolled a nat 20, but I have a -1 modifier to intelligence, so it's 19.
All right, so we got a
Sad.
19, we got a 20. What did you get for Ruby?
18.
18, and how about for Brutus?
So I rolled a 2, but I also have a -1, so that's an unnatural 1.
Wow,
So-
we got the full spectrum
Oh, we
here.
really did.
Synthetic 20,
Brutus.
unnatural 1,
Synthetic 20.
unnatural 20.
Yeah, Brutus is just not even really paying it any mind. It's just good to see things in repair.
Right.
Your other
Focused on the
teammates-
next job. Yes.
Yes, and your other teammates are recognizing for a brief moment that building wasn't that done yesterday. And you're recognizing now you might have been gone a little bit longer than a few hours. And you find yourselves approaching the office. And as you come inside the familiar building that has parts of it still been destroyed, but that was one of the first that they reestablished, was the command office. And all of the generals and all of the captains from out Cauldareen, they each had their own buildings in various places, but most of them now reside here in one central location. And Oops, his office is here, where Kagor once was. And as you walk in, you can find everyone bustling about. There's almost a bit of life to this place again. And standing outside, you see a familiar group as the 4 remaining members of Team 7 are standing outside Oops's office as well.
That human paladin still alive?
The Aarakocra Paladin?
No, sorry. Maybe they weren't a paladin. Is their human team member still
Oh
alive?
yes, they're human fighter. Yes, the one who
Dope.
died is a Kenku who
Yeah.
you found the body of.
Fighters, what they are.
They're the
I
one.
give the-
Yeah,
That
I
was
just
rough.
give the human like a chin nod because there aren't a whole lot of us in
and
this
that
place.
is Sapphire. And Sapphire, who has
Dope.
introduced themselves before, says, "Hey, great to see you."
Hi, Team 7. How you guys doing?
And their halfling, Vinny, says, "Well, get the summons from the boss, man. You got to show up, boss woman, boss." The
Boss
boss
person?
person.
Yeah.
When you get the summons, you got to show up. So here we are,
I personally
Boss,
like
boss.
boss lady.
boss lady.
Boss lady, it's not bad. You like that?
Looking for
Boss
gender terms.
barbarian.
And
Boss
Boss
bard.
barbarian.
you hear the echo come from Morin, the other Kenku, as they echo Vinny's words, "Boss lady."
There you
And
go.
their captain, Sir Galeth, turns.
Yeah.
Sir Featherfuck. Sorry.
Wow.
Good.
We got our summons, and assumably you got yours at the same time. And yet here we are, ahead of the curve, yet again.
Well,
Yeah. We were a little busy, walking through hell. So
yeah. One of these days. Don't worry. We'll catch up.
Well, perhaps it'd be easier if you could simply fly.
Well,
I mean, give me some time. I'm starting to get the hang of my
Kinda
magic.
glib.
Eric's is restraining themselves from saying
was like-
something really mean, from going
Ru-
too far, too
Ruby's
hard,
hand is up like
because
this,
it
like,
didn't
don't
help
touch
his
it.
friend. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say that.
But Ruby's hand's kind of up,
In the face.
but she kind of glances over at like a couple of people that in her party that she knows could possibly, including Tara, potentially wild shape, and goes, "That's okay. I think we're good, thanks."
Well, it seems we've all gotten the call. And he opens up the door and walks in. Does not hold it open. Walks in.
Of course not.
And then you see Sapphire catch the door, and they're like, come on in.
Well, thank you.
As the 9 of you hack into Oops's office.
God.
I'm lingering to the back, and I'm just gonna lean down towards Sarah and say, "See, Featherfuck, we hate that guy. Just letting you know."
I think
Sarah probably wasn't told by Kagor who they needed to hate, but now we know.
or were
Wait.
Maybe she was though.
Maybe
like-
she was.
And she probably
though.
may not have been told, "Oh, we need someone on one time." May not have been told to hate Sir Featherfuck specifically. And look, go easy on him because his friend got super murdered, but he's still a dick.
I think Ruby is going to specifically plant herself at the front with him at his side.
And as the 2 of you approach, Oops is there at their desk. And there is a bunch of papers and a bunch of things. And they have clearly, they keep coming in, and you see a stack of other papers in the corner. And as soon as you walk in, they just shove them off.
Damn it! Like Ruby's like looking at papers, looking at Oops.
Why do people give so much detail? You killed a monster. You made it back alive. A little bit of damage. That's all I need to know. I don't even need to know about the damage. Somebody else is going to pay for that, not us. So,
I mean,
what is this? Why did Kagor do this?
I don't know.
he also didn't like the paperwork, so like I can't tell you.
See, when we don't like things, we don't do them.
Is
That's
that-
what I've been saying for years.
Oh my god.
You never listen to me.
Ruby looks visibly stressed hearing like nothing is like, oh my god.
And Oops just moving the rest of that aside. Well, glad you made it back, and good to see you back, Team 7. Seeing as you are 2 of our fully remaining parties, several of the younger teams not as experienced as either of your groups, and some of them suffered heavy casualties from the ones who are remaining. We're working on getting them up to snuff and up to speed, but your 2 teams and a few other teams, I'm going to be pairing up in order to ensure that you get ready for what's to come. Why are you raising your hand?
I just didn't wanted to wait till you were done saying whatever you were saying. So remember that thing you said about things we don't like to do?
This is an Ivy thing,
Yes.
but I fully knew that this is what was coming. I was like, shit,
Okay.
they're far around here.
Yeah, so like what if we didn't want that? Because I feel like our team's done really good by ourselves. We've made it this far, so we don't need to
Ruby's kind of like,
Yes, clearly they've made it quite far. A few almost deaths and a trip through hell.
but we're not dead, are we?
So at this point, I think we would probably do fine on our own as well. Well, that's tough because you know how we talked about you guys, don't do things you don't like to do. Well, there's also a thing that we're going to talk about is I'm in charge.
Right.
I love her.
You're more like Kagor than you think.
And you're going to be in charge of this then.
What?
Ruby has to hold back a smile as she's like,
Okay, so for your next training exercise, your team captain for this exercise of the whole joint operation, Terek's niece. Get familiar with them, and they will be handling all paperwork and picking a direction. We need your team ready to interact and work together. Any complaints?
no, ma'am. Ruby's like a little giggly about this whole thing now. She's like, well,
Looking over at Terex. Captain?
No, ma'am.
Right. And at that moment, someone knocks on the door and says, reports in from the Jaeger team and from Fire Shot, and starts bringing in more stuff. Well, look at that. More stuff.
You know, I do have flames. Just put it out there.
That'll do. Go meet up with Anna Faye, and she'll get you squared away.
Ruby's gonna look to Terex.
Yeah,
Well, lead
yeah,
on.
we're going. I know Derek's just, yeah, come on, team. Oh my god.
Working.
Hiccup's gonna do like a little excited jog next to Terex and just kind of give her like little, like very light, gentle, playful jabs on her shoulder. She's like, "You got this, Nightshade. You got this."
Oh my god. I don't want it. And very specifically don't want this.
Well, that's why you're not doing this by yourself.
As we're heading out, Brutus is just gonna like hang behind for 1 sec and just did we any information on the location with the Cult of Order? Were they, I don't know, did we stop them, that branch?
Well, you're going to get a real kick out of today's assignment then.
That's not an answer.
And she turns back and starts looking over more papers.
You're in charge, Terex.
Yeah.
You were told to go find Anna Faye.
I'm Ruby.
Yes, ma'am.
But
And
where's-
Ruby's a little smuggish, like, yes, ma'am.
Where does NFA usually? Where's the thing?
Where's the thing?
Where is she? You know where she is, right? Or where she usually is? I don't. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She'll either be in her office, which I highly doubt, or normally out by the training grounds, or having other people run laps, or testing her daggers out on the range.
Okay.
Or
so-
being ahead of schedule when people who are supposed to meet with me are late.
Also true.
I-
Not my
with-
fault this time.
I am going to turn as I assume turn around and see NFA.
Welcome back, Team 10.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
I would say good to be back. It's middling, honestly, but
Yeah, have a fun little jaunt in hell, I heard.
yeah. Brought back a friend.
Oh, first time?
Yep.
And she looks down and she sees Sarah. And she nods and says, "So, two of our most experienced younger teams. We're going to whip you into shape. Usually we take a lot longer to get you to certain points, but as you can see, things have gotten a little hectic. So, we need a couple kill squads ready to go."
Oh. Oh, yes. For what? Am I allowed to ask?
Well, let's see. It's called a kill and it's called a squad. One of those words is the fact there's a lot of you here, and that first word sounds like an adjective, maybe more of an action verb.
Cult of Order?
It's at this point that Ruby realizes maybe where she got a lot of her sass. She's like, oh
Yeah.
shit.
Hit me.
And Brutus, do you say cult of order out loud?
What?
Is that who
Well,
we're
it just
going
so-
after?
It just so happens we'll have to deal with my brother one way or another, but between now and getting this one up to snuff, and points at Terex, we're not going to be able to access some of the abilities that would help us locate him until you're strong enough to do it. So in the meantime, we're going to get you there. And then, Clan of Cauldareen is going to deliver some payback. So on the way, we figured we'd make a few little house calls. Pointed case, the Order.
Nasty little bunch we've tracked quite thoroughly in the last few weeks. And we have some locations that we can visit.
Right. And we're going to kill people there then.
Well, that's entirely up to how you handle the situation. Sometimes the best way to handle it is to not kill. But
Right.
I want you strong enough to be able to do it in the event that you come against some type of creature like before, or someone hell-bent on killing you. Kill squads kill problems. That doesn't necessarily mean lives are lost, but it does mean problems end. When I send you out, I don't even want to have to consider whether or not you're coming back. I just want to be counting how long until you do. So, with what we have, and many team members missing, or MIA and out of action, we're going to work you up to this. Before we head off, we've got to get you assessed properly. I've seen many of you acquire new abilities and new items. I want to put them to the test. And she looks at Brutus. You'll be on a special assignment. You'll be working closely with Hakita and a friend we've brought in. We've made careful note of your new ability. When it comes to dealing with undead creatures, you seem to be a bit of a beacon, as it were. We got to get that under control.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Means to noticed while we were in hell.
Make sure you relay that information to Hakita.
Right.
They'll take care of you. The next couple of days are going to be grueling. But I have faith in both of these groups. While you are Team 7 and you are Team 10, you are all Cauldareen. So, make your way off, Brutus. We'll get you over towards Hakita. The rest of you, on me. Let's go for a jog.
Ruby sighs because she knows exactly what that means.
Terex and her chronic platforms.
You can jog in platforms.
She can. She just doesn't like to.
That's totally valid.
And in those moments, she makes her way towards the door as Team 10 walks out into the sunlight, heading for a new journey. And that is where we're going to take our break tonight and end this episode, folks. We are going to be back next week. We're going to be back, and things are going to be very interesting as we get into some of our training of Team 10, because they've got to level up. They've got to get
strong.
Ready for battle.
Get swole.
Hell yeah.
What?
I almost forgot. You actually got me that time.
I did, didn't I?
You did. You usually don't, but you did.
I was gonna say he didn't get me. I watched Grab a Call on Saturday.
A young boy passing through a town. All sorts of curious people, interesting beings in disguise. People selling things and lying about their worth. It's all so silly. But then something catches his eye. A group of individuals. One not of this world. Another possessing two souls. The sense of a pact yet to be formed. wolf in sheep's clothing. And someone commanding all of that. What is this peculiar group? And why do they seem so familiar?